Church, we have sat through 4 parts of this reunion for the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and try as I might, I still don't know if we found resolution regarding Erika Jayne. But I got my notes. I hope y'all got yours. Let's get on into this damn mess one last time for season 11. Y'all, let's jump on in. You know, fair warning, every single one of these damn points except one have something to do with Erika, because they might as well have called this episode the Erika Show finale, baby. Okay, so let's get on into Erika Jayne, or, you know, defend it 1, 2, 3 down to the courthouse if you're nasty. All right, y'all, so Erika can't have it both ways. Either the ladies can ask questions or not. Y'all, I've been saying this all season, okay? Erika, you must first decide whether or not you want fans or whether or not you want friends, okay? Because fans just gonna support you and not gonna ask any damn questions. Friends have questions, okay? And you cannot have it both ways, okay? You can't say, y'all can ask me questions, and then the minute they ask you questions, you bite their heads off, okay? But then if they conspire by themselves and they decide to have a little, you know, talk amongst themselves about whatever is going on, then they're being disloyal and sneaky and going behind your back and stuff. So mama, make it make sense. You're gonna have to find some sort of peaceful medium where you're still getting your message across and not biting their heads off at the same time. Otherwise, they're still gonna have questions. You're gonna be sitting over here mad and nothing will be resolved in the middle. And that's all I'm gonna say on that one. Andy asks Erika, did you ask Tom if he did it? Y'all, this was a class in, I would say, diverting from the question and also not answering it directly, right? Because if you notice, she never said, I talked to Tom and he said unequivocally that he did not do it, okay? She first said that, she asked Tom why he would leave her with all of these damn, you know, millions and millions of dollars in lawsuits pointing at her, okay? That was diversion number 1, okay? Then Andy reiterated the question. Did you ask Tom if he did it, okay? And then she said he didn't acknowledge it, right? And then she later said, you know, he's incompetent. It basically doesn't matter what he said because he's not fit, right? Okay? And so I just want y'all to understand, and I've said this before in the season, the smoke screenation of the situation. I don't know if this was a crafted answer that she worked on with her lawyer in terms of what she could say and could not say, or this was just something that came up on the spot from an honest place, right? But to me, if I ask you a very direct question in terms of did you ask Tom whether or not he did it or not, and you don't answer the question directly, I have a problem with that, right? If she simply would have said, I asked him and he told me no, but he's incompetent, so I don't know what to believe, that would have deaded the whole thing, right? But you going over here and over there and the tears, and don't get me wrong, the tears may be legit, okay? Because mama is dealing with something that none of us will probably ever go through in our damn lives, okay? So I understand the tears, I understand the emotion, but going with that, if someone asks you a direct question and you're on the reunion and this is your time to, you know, to tell your piece, to finally bring your side of the story out, to me, it would have been more advantageous to just answer the question directly and not through riddles. Moving forward, the $20 million question. Andy asked Erika, did Tom or, you know, the Girardi Keese law firm deposit $20 million into the account of EJ Global? Now, Erika says unequivocally that it is untrue, okay? She says, furthermore, that her lawyer sent a statement or whatever to the press or blah, 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 you know, basically showing that it was not true, that, you know, she did not receive this money, and that pretty much was quiet. Now, let me tell y'all why it was quiet. There is a saying in the media that the truth does not matter when the lie is more entertaining. I will say that one more time. There is a saying in the media that the truth does not matter when the lie is more entertaining, okay? So, I'm not saying whether or not, you know, the money was deposited in the account. I'm not saying that Erika's saying that it wasn't deposited in the account is the correct thing. What I am saying, church, is that y'all need to bring in some damn forensic accountants, because there are problems here if the damn LA Times can run with a story saying that EJ Global received $20 million and then, it'd be a complete fabricated lie. Now, what I've said from the beginning is that, where there's smoke, there is fire, right? Okay, so there was probably $20 million. Now, did it get deposited into EJ Global's account? Maybe not. Maybe we're dealing with the case of semantics and it was deposited into like EJ Holdings or some shit. Like, I don't know, okay? But where there is smoke, there is fire. But like I said before, it doesn't matter what Erika said in terms of trying to dispute it with her lawyer, because the truth does not matter when the lie is more entertaining. So, baby, call the forensic accountants and let them get to the end of it, and we'll move on from there. Erika has a $14 million credit card bill over a 12-year period. Y'all, this is one of those cases where the media, to me, sensationalizes a part that if you actually break it down, it's not that far-fetched, right? Like, let's think about it for a second. If Erika spent $14 million on a credit card over a 12-year period, I did the math, okay, down to the damn calculator app, that equates to $1.16 million a year over the 12-year period. Now, that may seem like a lot of money to you and I, but to a Beverly Hills housewife, this is not a lot of money to spend over a year period in whatever she's spending, from like glam to, to fashion, to entertainment, to eating out, etc. Right? $1.16 million for a Beverly Hills housewife is not a lot of money in the grand scheme of things as it relates to how they operate. Okay. The central problem here, though, is whether or not the funds that she spent were misappropriated, okay? And that's a whole different other story, okay? So you can feel a way that you want to about Erika Jayne and her expensive lifestyle and her spending this money, but the real facet of the situation is, was she spending the money that had to deal with the widows, the orphans, the children, the plane crash victims, etc., okay? And I think Erika made a really, really good point where she said, listen, I do not know if the money was misappropriated, okay? And if it was misappropriated, it's not just on me, okay? You need to go talk to the damn lawyers at the firm that got paid off of this money. You need to go talk to the receptionist, the janitors, Tom and all of his damn hoes. Y'all need to pull them up, all those damn Valentine's Day gifts and stuff that he was buying them. Like, there are many culpable people, whether directly or indirectly, on this money if in fact it was misappropriated, right? And so I thought that was a very valid point, because if you're going to call a spade, you have to call a spade, right? Because if we're playing devil's advocate and Erika did not know anything, this man was depositing this money into her account and she was spending it, then everybody who benefited from that money, either indirectly or directly, is culpable as well. So like I said before, y'all, get the forensic accountants and figure out where the damn money went and what the damn situation is. Moving forward, Erika on coming for Sutton and her family, I won't show you grace. Y'all, this was one of the worst bullshit attempts that I have ever seen in my life, okay? Like, listen, I'm all about truth, transparency, and people standing in their truth, and if you said it, then stand behind it. In the words of Nene Leakes, baby, I said what I said, okay? Now, Erika did so much damn backpedaling to try to create this narrative that what she said to Sutton isn't what she said. Now, let's just go over it real quick. Erika pretty much said that when she said she was coming for Sutton and her family, what she meant was that on this show, the ladies are going to have trials and tribulations, and unfortunately, this is Erika's year for it. So what she said she was saying is that, Sutton, when your year comes up, I will not show you the grace that I thought you should have showed me, okay? I call so much bullshit, I was about to throw my damn phone when I was watching it on the screen. This was a case of you trying to smooth this thing over or make it seem like something that it was not, or like create some sort of like intention versus what you said, okay? You cannot tell me that in the moment that when you were talking to this lady crazy, all that malice that came out of your throat had anything to do with you thinking way into the future as to when she's gonna have trials and tribulations on this show, and that you won't be there for her and show her grace in that moment. Stop with the madness, okay? Truthfully, y'all, I would have been happy if she said absolutely nothing and she just said, I said what I said. Because to me, having a failed attempt on trying to fix a bad situation is worse than just leaving it where it is and just saying, I said what I said and that's what it is. So I call bullshit on that. Now, Sutton say that after Erika made all these threats towards her, she hired security. As well she should have. Now, let's talk about it. Did Sutton actually fear for her life? She probably did, okay? And let me tell you why. And I've said this before. Sutton is not about this life. She talks a good game, but at the end of the day, she is not about this life. And I don't think it's far-fetched for her to believe Erika at face value in terms of what she said she was going to do. In my mind, if Erika's over here talking on the reunion, talking about y'all don't know what I did and y'all don't know what I will do and X, Y, Z and stuff, then all Sutton's doing is like, listen, I'm going to give you exactly what you give me. If you give me real criminal, I'm going to treat you like you are a real criminal and a credible threat to my life. So I had no problem with her hiring security. Good for her. I just wish that she spread it across more than 1 week, because it would have made the story better if she like, I hired security for a month, baby, because I was just shivering in my Bel Air mansion. It would have been a better situation. All right, Erika calls Sutton a bitchy effing cunt. Oh, I can't say it. A bitchy effing see you next Tuesday over the liar comment. In this moment, y'all, and I'm just censoring myself because I don't know what words will get me banned from YouTube and which ones won't. So this is going to be an experiment for us all, child. Now, when I was watching the episode, y'all, the first thought that I had in this moment is, Erika truly does not want to be friends with this lady no more, okay? And let me tell you why. Because she consistently talks to her crazy and Sutton consistently takes it, okay? I have a saying that I always tell my friends that we teach people how to treat us. I will say that one more time since I messed it up. We teach people how to treat us, okay? And I think that Sutton continually trying to take the high road and not try to ruffle feathers and, appear as more of the adult in the situation is sort of working to her detriment, because it puts her in this situation where Erika continually feels that she can punk her, right? Or she can sun her, or she can say what she wants and you're just going to take it, okay? Now, I'm not saying she should have got up and fought the lady over what she said. I'm just saying there's a way to say, you will not talk to me in that manner if you want to have a conversation. Because either we are going to have a conversation as equals, or we're not going to talk about it at all. Because you're not going to continually disrespect me and think that we're just going to move on from there. So listen, Sutton, you just have to decide. If you want to be friends with this lady, then you're going to need to have a conversation and stick up for yourself in that respect. And if you don't want to be friends with her, then you could just do exactly what you did, let it blow over and just keep it moving there. But I don't know how you let somebody talk to you crazy like that. But Sutton did get her back in a very nice, nasty way when she checkmated her over the fake apology makeup. And she was completely right. I think that taking a step back in terms of why Erika was so mad at Sutton, I think it goes deeper than just her asking her questions. It was the whole implication over the word liar. And I get it on both fronts, okay? Erika does not want to be labeled a liar in this situation because it creates a connotation that she's a liar overall down to the courthouse. You get what I mean? Okay, so that's why she's fighting so hard against that word liar, okay? And Sutton is taking it strictly from a denotation standpoint, the dictionary definition, that if you decided to sit up in my face and, give me all this false sincerity about we're moving forward and, I apologize and this, that, and the third. And then in the next breath, in the next scene, you're talking about how, I just said it to appease the group. I don't really care if I make up with her or not. That was a lie. Thus, you are a liar, right? And so, listen, I get it. Just because you lie that one time to protect someone's feelings or to make someone feel better or to, make the group feel at a more peaceful place does not mean that you are a liar for the rest of your life. So I think that's a very important distinction to make, but I understand the point on both sides. Now, on to Lisa Rinna. So Andy asks a very important fan question where he basically says, Rinna held Yolanda's illness, Kim's addiction, and Denise's marriage to the fire. Why shouldn't Erika be questioned in the same way? Now, we're going to play devil's advocate because there's two different ways to look at the situation, church. Okay. The first way is pretty much probably the way that everyone's going to think about it. If you had this same energy with, Yolanda, with Kim and Denise, then you should bring that same energy, that same vileness, that same vitriol, that same, those same sentiments to your pursuit of information with Erika, right? Like, keep it consistent. If you were that person then be that same person now towards Erika. What makes her different? And on the flip side of that, y'all, people are allowed to change, right? So listen, Rinna didn't specifically go into this. She did say that she was apologetic for her past behavior, but she didn't necessarily say that the past behavior is why she approached Erika's situation in this way. But if we're thinking about it in terms of what she meant, maybe what she was saying is, I was absolutely horrible in those situations to those people, and I made a conscientious decision that in this situation with Erika, I was going to be better. And I can understand that, right? Because just because you were horrible in the past does not mean that you need to carry that same energy into your future. And that's all I'm going to say. Y'all drop down in the comments and let me know what you think. Is it disingenuous for her to try to move on and treat Erika differently in this situation? Or should she have kept that same energy that she kept with, Yolanda, Kim, and Denise in the past? Moving forward, Erika tells the full story of Tom's accident, but won't explain why it was snowing when her son flipped the car. This is one of the central problems that I have with Erika, okay? Because she continually says that she's telling the whole story, that, this is it, this is me, this is what happened. I know it sounds crazy, but it's almost the selective stories that you decide to tell, right? Like, don't get me wrong. I applaud her for telling the full story of Tom's accident from beginning to end, or as much as she could tell from a legal standpoint. That's fine. And it did make more sense when you heard the story all together, right? The problem that I have is that you answered all those questions in terms of Tom's accident, but Andy asked you one simple question in regards to, was it really snowing in Pasadena or wherever the damn sun was when he flipped his car 4, 5, 6, whatever times, right? So y'all make it make sense to me, okay? You cannot tell me that you answering whether or not it was snowing in Pasadena is more damning than you talking about the intricacies of Tom's accident and how it impacted his mental health. Like, it does not make sense to me. To me, you would have been more advantageous from a legal perspective, not talking about Tom at all and talking about the damn snowy Pasadena stuff. But listen, that's just me. Y'all drop down in the comments and let me know what you think. But I just can't deal with the, I'm gonna tell this whole story, but I can't tell this whole story, even though that whole story is not even as important as this whole story. It's just too much. And I've said this before from a prior comment that someone left me, but Tom said in the interview that if you can't convince, confuse, okay? And perhaps she's doing the same thing. I don't know. All right. And towards the end, y'all, she basically says that the best way she can support the victims is by participating in the legal process and getting to the bottom of what happened. Honestly, I think that was the most important statement that she made this entire 4-part reunion, right? Because this is really what people wanted from her in the beginning. And I think that if she had said this before, or perhaps said this continually throughout the season, that her only goal in this is to make sure that, number one, that she has her day in court and that, she's exonerated of any charges that come against her if, in fact, she had nothing to do with it, number one. But number two, that anybody who was wronged by the actions of Tom Girardi deserves to have their day in court, deserves to be, brought whole in whatever manner the court, deems fit, okay? And I think that if she had led with that and continued with that throughout the season, perhaps people wouldn't have felt such a way about her making you know, all the missteps that she did. Now, I'm not exonerating her. I'm not saying that this absolves her of all her past actions. I'm just saying that I wish she would have had these sentiments and these feelings throughout the season, because I think it probably could have made a substantial impact. So it just brings us now to our ending thoughts in terms of the central question we've been trying to answer all season, which is, do we believe Erika Jayne? And unfortunately, y'all, I don't know if I can answer that question yet, because the situation is still in flux. It's still happening. Details are still coming out. So I don't think that you can have a full summation or a full understanding or a full resolve until the final period is put on the sentence. All this reunion really did was put a comma on it and give us some corroborating details, right? So I do feel better about, you know, Erika's explanations in a way, because I feel that she was more open, because she pretty much had to be when Andy was essentially drilling her and grilling her about, you know, her actions this season. But I do feel that due to the nature of the legal system and what Erika can say and what she can't, and also, you know, the things that she wants to tell and things that she doesn't, we don't have the full story yet. And so when you don't have the full story, you can't have a full opinion about it. And but I will keep reiterating this, because I've said this from the beginning and I will continue to say it. I do not believe that Erika Jayne was the mastermind of this whole Ponzi scheme thing. And whether or not she's guilty by association or guilty by proximity to her husband, whether or not she's guilty because she knew something, some tidbit, and she didn't run with it, that's for the courts to decide. Unfortunately, because she's already guilty in the court of public opinion, it's an uphill battle to try to prove her innocence to the general masses. So we'll see, but I think they really gave us a good lead-in into the next season. I'm very excited to see where it goes. So anywho, y'all, if y'all liked what I said, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on YouTube, Instagram, Stereo, and Twitter at DatDamnDasher. And until next time, y'all, Andy, you could take a few months off between now and the next damn season, because I'm tired and my nerves is shot to shingles. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.